Hey there, and welcome back to SV's 2 Cents.
So, today I want to talk about a very old TV show, a show I genuinely consider myself lucky to have discovered. Finding these episodes was not easy. In fact, that search itself felt like entering some forgotten corner of television history. But I must say it was absolutely worth it. I started watching The Twilight Zone just about a week ago, and I have been honestly amazed, because every single episode feels built around some unique, fascinating idea. The writing is sharp, the acting is powerful, and what impresses me the most is how these episodes, most of them under 30 minutes, manage to tell such memorable stories with perfect pacing. No wasted scenes, no unnecessary exposition, no dragging. And what makes the show even more special is that it refuses to stay inside one box. It's not just science fiction, it's not just philosophy, it's not just horror. It simply focuses on telling intriguing human stories. Stories that leave you thinking even after the episode ends. So today I will be talking about the first 2 episodes. Given this is explanatory video, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched the episodes yet, please feel free to pause and visit this video later. So let's start episode 1. Where is everybody? Now imagine this. You find yourself walking on the outskirts of a town. You don't remember who you are. You don't know how you ended up here walking. You don't know where you came from. And as you slowly walk into the town, you realize something is deeply wrong, because there is nobody there. Not one single person. And that's how the very first episode begins. A man, the protagonist of this episode, walks into what looks like an ordinary American town. He has no memory of who he is or how he got there. The town looks perfectly ordinary. Shops, restaurants, police station, movie theater. Everything looks normal, but there are no people. Not one. At first, the man is confused, but not afraid. Maybe people are nearby. Maybe they're inside. Maybe he's simply early. He enters a restaurant. The stove is still warm. Coffee is ready. Food seems recently prepared. It looks like someone was just here moments ago, but no one is there. He checks the kitchen. Nothing. He walks into nearby stores. Nothing. Then suddenly, he sees someone sitting inside a car, and for a brief moment, you feel relief with him. Finally, another human being. But then he gets closer and realizes it's just a mannequin. That moment is eerie. Not because anything scary happens, but because hope appears and disappears instantly. And from there, his emotional state starts changing. Confusion becomes anxiety. Anxiety becomes desperation. He tries a public phone booth. Maybe someone can explain what is happening, but only a mechanical automated voice answers. No real human. And then comes one of the most brilliant little moments in the episode. He tries to get out of the phone booth, but the door won't open. He panics, starts shouting, starts believing he is trapped. His breathing becomes faster, his thoughts spiral, and then he realizes he has been trying to open the door on the wrong side. The door opens normally. Simple moment, but so psychologically accurate, because panic doesn't just make us afraid, it makes us irrational. The human brain under fear creates problems where none exist. He keeps searching. At the police station, there's a lit cigarette still resting in an ashtray. Again, that haunting feeling. Someone was just here. He searches everywhere. He walks inside the police station, even inside a jail cell. Behind him, the cell door begins to close, naturally. However, because of what just happened in the phone booth, he immediately panics and rushes out before it shuts. His fear is now fully controlling him. Exhausted, he sits down, but he suddenly hears something. A movie playing inside a theater. He again rushes in the theater. The screen is running, but the seats are empty. He looks up at the projection room. Someone must be there. He runs upstairs, but he finds it empty too, like someone was here just moments ago. At this point, he is mentally breaking. No answers, no humans, no explanation, just silence. And eventually, exhausted and terrified, he runs out and starts desperately pressing a button on a pole. And suddenly, everything changes. We realize this was never a ghost story. This was a psychological experiment. The man is an astronaut trainee. He has been placed in complete sensory isolation, a simulation designed to test one terrifying question. Can a human mind survive complete loneliness? Because in space, that may become reality. And honestly, what a brilliant concept for a first episode. Because the horror here is not monsters, not aliens, not death. It's isolation, pure loneliness. And what struck me most is this. We often say we want peace, we want solitude. We complain about crowds, noise, people. But this episode quietly reminds us of something profound. The presence of other human beings, even strangers, gives us comfort. People validate reality. They ground us. Without others, even our own thoughts begin to betray us. I mean, that is why solitary confinement is a form of legal punishment. That phone booth scene says everything. He wasn't trapped, but his mind trapped him. And that is terrifying. It was a very fascinating episode. I honestly couldn't wait to watch the next one. And just when you think the Twilight Zone is going to be a creepy science fiction anthology, the second episode does something completely different. It becomes emotional, gentle, even strangely beautiful. Episode 2. One for the Angels. So, this episode begins very differently. No mystery, no eerie atmosphere, just a simple old salesman on the street trying to sell his products. He's cheerful, talkative, and harmless. Then from a distance, a well-dressed man in a suit and hat is shown watching him, calmly, silently, and we are quickly told something chilling. That man is death, not symbolic death, actual death personified. Then the salesman closes his shop and leaves. On his way home, he meets his neighborhood children, gives them toys. He is shown as a very gentle and kind-hearted person. Later, when the salesman returns home, he finds the suited man already waiting for him inside. That alone is unsettling, because death doesn't knock. It simply arrives. At first, the salesman refuses to believe it. Then a little girl, one among the neighboring kids whom he clearly cares for, comes by. And this is where the episode does something clever. The girl cannot see the suited man, meaning only the salesman can. That's when reality sinks in. This is real. Death has come for him. Now, what makes this conversation fascinating is that death isn't portrayed as evil, cruel, or monstrous. He is calm, professional, almost bureaucratic, with contracts, papers, and documents. On learning of death, the salesman pleads for letting him live. He says I'm still healthy and fit. But death explains that only in rare circumstances, exceptions happen. If someone has some deeply unfinished purpose, something meaningful yet to be completed. And that gives the salesman an idea. He says he has one dream left, to deliver the greatest sales pitch of his life. A once-in-a-lifetime masterpiece, something he calls One for the Angels. Basically, the ultimate pitch. Death agrees, and asks when he will do it. The salesman says soon. Death accepts and leaves, and immediately the salesman celebrates. He thinks he has outsmarted death. Simple. Never make the pitch, never die. But death returns almost instantly, and calmly points out what should have been obvious. You can delay your own appointment, but death will still collect someone. If not you, someone else. Then we hear a terrible accident outside. A child has been hit, the same little girl, and in one heartbreaking moment, the episode changes completely. The girl can now see death too, which means she is the next one. And suddenly, this stops being a story about survival. It becomes a story about sacrifice. The salesman begs death to take him instead, but death refuses. A deal is a deal. The girl will be taken at midnight. Now comes the emotional heart of the episode. The salesman waits for death outside the house of the little girl, not to run, not to hide, but to fight in the only way he knows how, selling. As death arrives close to midnight, the salesman begins pitching. Everything, every product, every line, every ounce of charm. He talks, persuades, distracts, improvises, pours his soul into this performance, and it works. The clock strikes midnight. The deadline passes. The girl survives. And in that moment, the salesman smiles because he realizes something beautiful. He finally delivered his masterpiece, the greatest sales pitch of his life. One so powerful that it even stopped death itself. His dream is fulfilled, and now without resistance, he walks with death, willingly. What a beautiful little story, because this man begins the episode selfishly trying to cheat death, but ends it by giving himself up for someone else. That transformation is what makes this episode work, and maybe that's the deeper point. Sometimes courage is not about defeating death. Sometimes courage is simply choosing love over fear. So just 2 episodes in, and I already understood why this show is legendary. One episode gives psychological sci-fi horror, another gives emotional fantasy about sacrifice. Completely different stories, completely different tones, yet both are unforgettable. And that's rare. I may have found one of the greatest television shows ever made. Let me know if you've watched The Twilight Zone, and which episode I absolutely must watch next. Hope you enjoyed this discussion. Until next time.